Apparently, I am the most lobotomized moron of this whole planet right now, as of course I have forgotten to unmute my microphone before uploading the prior video. So in this video, we'll be going over the big four yet again, starting off with Ethereum, going over to XRP, Solana, and then Bitcoin. Those are the varying kind of degrees of strength and weakness there. I mean, not that anything's like, weak in a fucking bull market, but but there are, faster things compared to other things. Other than that, I should let you know that because I'm recording this video today and we had a live stream yesterday on Friday, I'm going to be moving the weekly Q&A session to tomorrow, Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to contribute, of course, you can join the Discord for free in the link in the description below and post whatever questions that you have in the weekly Q&A section. Anyways, let's just jump right into it, starting off with Ethereum. Of course, I have my notes just not organized over here, but there we go. Okay, so first things first, bigger picture here, monthly time frame. Of course, we did just get a new monthly open, that being December, and something very significant has happened. One, we have seen that the monthly stochastic oscillator has crossed freshly to the upside for the first time since January of 2023, which is where this run, really began, and it is holding within the bullish control zone and will remain with upside momentum as long as Ethereum is closing the monthlies above 36 and a half. So pretty fucking good there. I believe we also did have, a targeted region from the last video that we did on Ethereum at around, $4,000 right here. That has been hit as of right now. That is a significant target because it is the prior highs or around the prior highs from March of this year. So just like we've seen on many of the other majors, it's likely to spike this region maybe a few more times, maybe even slightly make a new high on this rally towards about 4,100. But ultimately, this is a good area for a bit of a pullback, or at least I would be very cognizant of that. The reason why I also say that is because if we go over here, yes, sorry, actually it's on this chart right here. If we go over here, we can see that there is going to be bearish divergence forming on the daily time frame. It's not actionable right now. It is not confirmed as of right now. In order to actually confirm it, we need to confirm a local high, but you can see that obviously the daily RSI is significantly lower than what we did see on the 11th of November when Ethereum was trading all the way down here at 3,400. So, like I said, it can spike this area a few more times, but if it confirms a local high, which would be confirmed if you see Ethereum close below Friday's low. Friday's low was 37.81. You can see that. Local high confirmed. Bearish divergence confirmed, very likely to play out a pullback. But first, it might spike those highs a few more times. But again, pullback a little bit more likely within this region, I do suspect. But again, higher term time frames are very bullish here. So it's really a higher low watch, as I like to say. And in this case, we can look at some fib retracements for areas of interest on any sort of a pullback. The 382 level is very obvious. In fact, you could maybe even argue that this was already tested. Maybe we've already even seen the pullback right here. Let me just see how big of a move that was. 7.25%, probably not. Yeah, maybe not. I would still be very much open to that. But yeah, 36.86. You got 35.55 and 34.25 is the big ones that I'd be looking for. I'm not saying that all of them need to be hit, but likely one of them does get hit on a higher low again during the next pullback. Of course, I will be wrong on a pullback. If you do see a weekly closure, essentially above $4,000 at that point, Ethereum's going to, I guess, retest the prior all-time highs first, maybe closer to 4,700. Likely, I would definitely assume that there's going to be a big pullback from that as well. But again, long-term, is Ethereum not going to follow the rest of the market? Highly unlikely. It's very likely to make new highs as well. I'd probably be looking tentatively somewhere around like 6,800, $7,000, something like that. That'd be kind of like the next major stop along the way for that trending movement. Anyways, yes. Okay, so we've got that. We've got that. Okay, great. Let's move on now to XRP. So XRP, we did a video on earlier this past week. Again, like Ethereum, it is quite strong. It has been having some pretty impressive moves here. But let me just make sure that my phone's actually working. It is working. That's good. Just check that like a right in the middle of a fucking 10-minute video. But we see the same thing here as what I'm kind of speculating on Ethereum. It's retested the prior all-time high, or essentially around it at the 275, which was a targeted region from many moons ago, or well, I'd say a few videos ago. It can spike this area a few more times, but I do suspect that it is setting up for likely a deeper retracement. We have seen the double extreme volatility read right here, which is really common on counter moves. In this case, that would obviously be a downside move. But just like Ethereum, higher term time frames bullish. I'm not bearish on something like this. It's just, you know, any sort of a pullback is likely to form a higher low. In fact, I'm curious how much this one's already pulled back here. 23.25%. So here's what I'd say about XRP. I would be expecting this one to continue to consolidate sideways and likely a little bit of downside as well, as long as the daily stochastic oscillator is positioned to the downside, which it will be below about 280, or as long as it's closing above 280. And it works off of these extreme volatility conditions over here. And then at that point, you know, probably looking at a higher low. Again, looking at Fibonacci retracements right here, we got the 3A2 at around about $2. Then you got the 50% at 170 and 142 below there. So, you know, perhaps one of those gets hit. I think coming down to 142, probably unlikely, but it is XRP at the end of the day. It's fucking volatile, as everyone knows. But yeah, let me just, oh yes. And then of course the monthly, we did get a new month. Something very critical happened here, which we outlined on December 1st, which was XRP has closed above the long-term macro regression trend line on the monthly stochastic oscillator, which was holding in the highs since 2017. And the way that I look at this is that if this was doing basically this whole consolidation for the past, I mean, I guess that's 6 years, since 2017, 6 to 7 years. And then now breaking that regression, that implies that something new is now emerging, which all of this price action over here is, you know, essentially one and the same. It's one massive consolidation. So this is likely to be resolved, obviously, to the upside, as long as the monthly oscillator remains to the upside, which will be true as long as it's above 122. So long term, you know, just like Ethereum, probably going to bust on through and make significantly new all-time highs from here. You know, again, areas of interest to the upside, you got 420 and then a little bit above 5, you know, 511, 520-ish region, something like that. Those would be the next big ones that I'd be looking for. But first things first, probably going to play a bit of sideways and down and then set up the higher low that leads into the next explosive move. Looking at it over here, I did also want to say that the weekly RSI is also a little bit concerning to me, seeing as the weekly RSI has accurately called some pretty significant highs in the past. It is definitely very high right here. We don't see it happen that often. It's only happened 3 other times where it's even been a little bit higher, and those have all correlated with extreme pullbacks off of extreme highs. This was a 50% pullback right here. This was 68%, and this one was like 90. So, I mean, it does seem excessive if that were to happen from here. But again, it's just, you know, is this likely to continue from here? You know, it does have some room, sure, but in the next 2, I would say maximum 3 weeks, but probably in the next 2 weeks, you know, we'll hit that region, and then you really have to be considering the likelihood of like a, you know, severe pullback. Again, pullbacks likely result in higher lows, likely result in continuation of these rallies. But I do think that most things, especially after retesting those prior all-time highs, are setting up for, you know, general pullbacks and ranges. Anyways, moving on now, we have Solana, Sederpa. We do see that it is still playing within our range, right? Nothing, whoops, just drawing shit on my charts now, bad. We're just, you know, we're seeing it continue to play within these ranges, the same range that we've had for a while now. It did test the downside of this on a wick, but no closures even below 230 at this point. So I'm looking at this as like a more evolved chart compared to Ethereum and XRP. This is kind of what I expect to happen. Again, this one retested, you know, prior all-time high from 2021. It's been spending the last 1, 2, 3 weeks coming, you know, sideways and down, cooling off of these extreme conditions. Now, daily BBWP volatility is fully contracted, actually. So it can stay down there for a while, yes, but this thing actually is getting quite mature here. Even the daily stochastic oscillator is positioned to the upside as long as this thing's closing above 223.75. So, you know, maybe a little more sideways, probably trust another upside move from there. Any sort of higher term time frame closure above 260, this thing should get, you know, a pretty quick ride towards like 350, 500 region, something like that. Long-term bullish as long as you're above 208, 209 region. That's really all that to say about this one. This one's already corrected down basically to there, I would say as well. So, perhaps a little bit more of a formality. Looking at some of our other oscillators, we do see that there is going to be potential for hidden bullish divergence as the daily RSI is making new lows on this potential low right here compared to even the lows from middle of November when it was trading at about 210, let's say. So of course, needs to confirm a local low to actually confirm that. So in that case, would need to close a daily back above about 240. Now would be available, I suppose. And then daily Joule also might even get a fresh signal here as well. So those things in conjunction with each other, likely do create a nice catalyst, we'll say. That does it for those. Let's get into Bitcoin here now. Looking at Bitcoin on CME, daily time frame continues to hold above the median, closing in a strong position to close out this week. I do look at this as likely setting up for continuation to the upside into next week. But again, the conditions for confirming that are still the same as before for, I guess yesterday, because that's when that happened. But just needs to trade above Thursday's high. The second that you see this thing trade above Thursday's high, you're very likely to see some pretty significant follow through. I suspect the 78.6 level here will probably get hit. That's going to be 112,000. That is 112,000. That's fucking crazy. The weekly time frame also did close above the 78.6 level. So I guess theoretically into next week it could play up here. That's also 11,000 and change. So I suppose it's possible that we do see continuation next week. I would still have the same conditions for failure in this case. If you do see Ethereum, Bitcoin, if you do see a Bitcoin, we spoke about the upside of that, which is if you just take out that last prior high, very likely moving up. I think it's already in a good position anyways. But if Bitcoin does come back down below this past week's low and close a daily below there, even on CME, which is a much higher price pivot than spot price action, that would be indicative to me that something else is going on. Expected deeper correction, I guess, to the downside. I guess we just kind of come back to that if that did happen, but I don't think that's happening, to be honest. But then again, it could happen. Anyways, let's actually just check out Bitcoin momentum here as well. I do want to look at the daily for CME. Again, a couple things of note here. Despite all of this price action, volatility has actually been continuing to contract. So this is letting us know that this is still, it's actually a consolidation right here. And daily momentum will actually turn back on fresh to the upside with any sort of a closure above 103,000, which it actually did close below for Friday. So that will open down, but it will have a chance again to the upside next week. This to me, this sort of consolidation right here is very reminiscent of something that we saw. I think it was last year. Last year over here when Bitcoin was just breaking back above $30,000. Again, I don't think that these things like work in one-to-one fractions or anything like that, but it's just, it's a very aggressive accumulation, putting higher lows, along the way and just continuing on with the overall trend. Do keep in mind, sometimes you get a nice little washout like that, but still, these are all just higher lows the whole way through. So things I expect to get a little bit more dicey coming into this next week or two. But Bitcoin still, I suppose, leading the way. And then you got Ethereum kind of as the second strongest. Then you got XRP and Solana. Although Solana now, after having cooled off, maybe that one takes the reins again alongside Bitcoin, because those things were moving together to the upside not so long ago. Okay, nice. I believe the microphone's working, which would be fucking great. My voice cannot handle another one. A very weak voice, very pussy voice. But yeah, again, weekly Q&A session will be tomorrow. If you want to join in with the fun, the Discord link is in the description below, and it's free to join. And you can just find the weekly Q&A section and ask whatever the hell you want. I don't necessarily have an answer for everything, but you can ask whatever you want, and I'll do my best, I guess. Other than that, wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you next time.